Hi. So I just wanted to start off by letting you know that you are not alone. This has happened to many others, and it is quite common to have unintended pregnancies. I also want to remind you that it's normal to be feeling a variation of feelings or just one feeling in particular. It's normal to be feeling frustrated or angry or sad or excited, emotional, whatever it may be, either all at once or one at a time. But I want you to know that you are able to express those feelings here, regardless of what they are. This is a safe space, and I'm here to help you navigate through your options, and I'm here to help support you in any way that I could. So those feelings are valid, and I recognize them, and I just want you to know that I'm here to help you through this process. Before we begin talking about the different options, I would really like to kind of just have a conversation with you and more so just listen to where you're coming from. And this conversation could help me gather information that could potentially help me identify what options we could talk about. Or we could just talk about all the options, but I still would like to hear just some where you're coming from, really. So let's start off by I'll ask you some questions, and if you feel comfortable with answering, then just answer them, and then we'll proceed from there. Okay? So, how are you feeling right now, and how are you feeling about this pregnancy? Okay. And ideally, what would be the end, what would be the ideal results or outcome in this situation? And it's okay if you don't know this right now, but if you do, then that's great. Okay. And I would also like to know about your support system. Um, are you supported in your decision regardless of what it is? Do you have people that have experienced similar situations that you could talk to them about? Okay. And is anyone else involved in making this decision with you, whether it may be a family, friend, partner? And I also want to say that um, it's okay if they are involved in making the decision, but this is ultimately your decision, and so that's just something to say. Um, so, how's your relationship with your partner? Okay. Do you feel safe in that relationship? Okay. And would your partner react negatively depending on what you choose? Also wanted to ask if you would like resources for different resources. So I could refer you to a therapist, a counselor, and additional like support groups with peers or other people that have been in similar situations. I could send those to you if that's something you would like. Okay. So also so my next question is, um, how are you feeling regarding your options? Do you have one option in particular that you're leaning towards? Do you want to discuss all your options? Are any options off the table? Okay. So, are you open to talking about abortion and adoption in these options? Okay. Um, okay. So, that was great. I have a good idea of where you're coming from, and I just want to be able to provide individualized care, and so this is very helpful for me. Um, okay, so let's talk about your different options, and not in any particular order, but abortion in California is legal up to usually 24 to 28 weeks, so up to a, a viable baby. So the main thing would be to determine your like how far along you are. I also want to mention that abortion is something that I cannot provide as a midwife legally. And so this is not a service I offer, but I could definitely provide referrals. I could also talk to you about the different like options regarding abortion, but I can't be the provider to help with this situation if you choose that. So first, let's determine your menstrual, like your last menstrual period. If you know the date of conception, that would be helpful. If you had an early ultrasound, that would be great. Those are the things that will help us determine how far along you are. That could also influence the type of abortion that would be needed. Um, I do want to say that the earlier you are in pregnancy, um, the less complex the procedure is. So it doesn't make it any easier because obviously, like every procedure is going to have its difficulties, um, its benefits, and limitations, right? But for anything, you're going to have those. But if you were set, I feel uh, like the medical abortion is less invasive than if we're having a DNC, a surgical abortion, or a suction abortion. So I think those options would be good to talk about once we know how far along you are, and so then we could determine which one would be best. I could talk about them a little bit now if you'd like. It all depends on what you would like. Okay. So medical abortion is usually done by giving 2 prescription pills, and this is done in your house. So the first medication is used, and it kind of stops the viability of the tissues, and it stops like the tissues from forming larger. Um, and then within you get a second dose of medicine, and this is what causes the cramping and the bleeding. So you might feel like the nausea, the vomiting from the medication, like diarrhea and malaise are also side effects. So it could kind of create like those flu-like symptoms, um, and also the cramping, and you would also see like the tissue and the blood. Um, this is something that has, or this success rate is 95 to 98% effective. Another type of abortion is surgical abortion. This is a more effective success, or it has a better success rate. It's 99 to 100% effective. Um, and this one is done in a clinic because, like I said, it's a procedure that's more complex. And this will have like at times sedation is available, and also um, along with other medications to help make it more comfortable for you. Um, so let's talk about the other option, which would be adoption. So there's different types of adoption. You could have like a closed record adoption, where the infant is given to the adopted mother or adopted family immediately after birth, and you don't have contact with the baby at that point after that. Or an open adoption where you have more control over the process, and you could meet the prospective like family that wants to adopt, and you could also have a continuous relationship with the child depending on the agreement that is made. You could have adoptions outside the family or even within the family, so that's something to consider as well. Um, there's things that you should ask yourself while deciding. So, Would you like the opportunity for adopted parents to be present at your birth? Would you like to be the one who hands the baby over to the adopted parents shortly after birth? Or would you rather not be involved with the situation? Would you feel more comfortable if you didn't have future contact with the baby? Um, and yeah, so those are some questions just to ask yourself. Um, so let's move on. So the third option would be um, to continue with the pregnancy and then make life changes and adapt to having this new person in your life. And that could be challenging at times as well. So for this option, I would really like to focus on um, like your support system, um, and just address any of your questions and concerns regarding this option or any option. Emotional aftercare for any of these options. Every client will have a different emotional response to the decision that they make. And it's extremely important to recognize that, recognize the feelings that you're feeling. And it's normal. So it's normal to feel guilty or angry or sad or relieved or happy. These are all normal feelings. During this time and even after or throughout this decision making, and after the decision making, I want you to focus on yourself. It's always important to focus on your nutrition, your hydration, and that you're participating in self care. I want to be checking in with you and be helping you along the way if that's something that you would like. Um, but this is up to you. So, if you would like to schedule an appointment in a week or two, then we could go ahead and set that up now. Or if you would like me to just give you time to think about the different options, and then I could send you the resources to the different options that we talked about, and then you could just contact me if you'd like to get in touch again, then that's great too. If you'd like me to schedule an appointment for you to get an ultrasound or to get blood work done, those are things that I could help you with. But yeah, I could just answer any questions that you may have. It was kind of a brief overview, but I just want to uh, listen to the questions that you have, and then I could continue the conversation and try to help you navigate through these options.